Hello everyone, welcome to the Hunter Classic. I recently got a suggestion on my last video on a tutorial for beginners because they didn't know what missions to do, what weapons to get, and how to get all the colors and everything. So today we're going to be going over all that and the easiest way to advance in the game, get more calls, waterfowl spreads, everything like that, guns, just the quickest way to progress in the game. So the first thing you're going to do, what I suggest is waiting for sales and getting at least, probably, I don't know, spend about $10, get about 1,000 EMs, buy the reverse draw crossbow and the 300 rifle, bolt action rifle. They are going to help you tremendously as time goes on, because with the 300 you can shoot everything from bison and moose down to coyotes and deer. And with the reverse draw, not only is it silent, you can shoot it prone instead of having to crouch for the compounds, but you can also shoot 80 meters with it if you're good enough, there's no wind. And also it's very powerful at taking down animals at short range, and you can even shoot rabbits, bobcats, and all the other small game like that. So between the reverse draw crossbow and the 300 bolt action rifle, you can shoot everything in the game except werewolves, which is, you know, the Halloween event right now. But werewolves and water buffalo, that is the only things you would not be able to shoot. So you also need the 300 for a few missions, and the 300 has a lot of knockdown power. It's not as good as some other weapons at woundage, like wounding the animal. So if you get like a liver shot or intestines, it doesn't bring it down quite as fast, but if you hit it in the lung, it drops instantaneously. So, missions. Alright, so you go to the missions tab. Always make sure this is checked right here. You always want to automatically activate new available missions. It just makes it easier so you don't have to go in and out constantly. Click activate on all the missions that you do as you progress through the mission packets. Now the first ones I suggest doing is the white-tailed deer missions. So the whole entire packet is 17,000 GMs. And you do not need a special weapon until you get to nice sidearm, which is 44 Magnum revolver, and then the last one you need a bunch of different weapons. So at this point you're probably not going to have all these weapons. You need the pump, you would already have the 44, you would need the 357, hopefully you'd have the 300 if you bought it on sale, 30-06, 270, you already have the 243. So there's a few weapons here that you would not have. That's alright. If you have a friend shoot you a buck with some of these weapons, great, 3,800 GMs. If not, immediately go to the Roosevelt elk missions. Here, all you need is slugs, or you can do the entire thing with slugs if you don't even have a 300 yet, until you get to this one, which is 44 Magnum revolver again, and that's all you need. The last ones, that's the only thing you need for the entire Roosevelt elk mission packet is the 44 Magnum, and you get again 17,000 GMs. Those are my first two missions packets that I always do whenever I do a mission packet reset. Now the other ones are the snowshoe hares right here, because you do not need anything besides a shotgun. If you have a shotgun with birdshot, you can complete the entire mission packet. You don't need any special weapons. You have to have a 243, but you already get that in the starter kit, so no problem there. Wait, no, not the 243, I'm sorry. That is for the Dall sheep missions. For the snowshoe hare, all you need is a shotgun with birdshot. For the Dall sheep missions, you need nothing except the 243. Which is wonderful. You know, there's no calls for the rabbits or the Dall sheep. Now each of these packets is 10,000 GMs, so if you completed both of them, it'd be 20,000 GMs. With that, you could probably buy the crossbow, the sight for the rangefinder, maybe a call or two for elk or something like that. So this is also another great starting point if you have no money, no experience, anything like that. And then from there you can go through, just try to get as many missions as done. Just go through, look at all of them. You can also go to the wiki and look at the missions in advance, so you can see, okay, how far can I get down this tree of animals before I have to have a specific weapon. And then if you join like a Discord server, a lot of people are usually willing to help with those weapons if you don't have them, and they'll help you out and help you shoot one. Now, as far as actual gameplay and everything like that, first thing you're going to do always is go to your settings, game settings here, and then you go through. If you have a good enough laptop, you can run scene complexity very high, which increases the render distance to 300/320 meters, which is the animals come in at 300 meters and they go out at 320 meters. For low, I believe it's 200 or 220 or 220, 240. So you get like an extra 100 meters based off of that. Yeah, 320. So they would come in at 200 meters, go out at 220 meters. So definitely, if you can, run it on very high, but if you get very low frame quality, maybe go to medium or something like that. Now, texture quality, if you can, run that high. Sometimes for shadow quality, I always run it on low because it helps visually whenever you're in a bunch of thick bushes or anything like that. There's not as much, it's not as thick, so you can see rabbits and stuff like that a whole lot easier. Then the rest of this, you can see how I have it. This is my personal experience on what makes it look better. Again, if you have a lower quality laptop, I think I have a GTR 3060 NVIDIA GPU, so I can run this game at max settings and I'll get about 60 frames a second. If you can't, just play around with the settings, lower maybe like the texture quality, but definitely try to keep the scene complexity as high as possible. Now, the store is basically pretty straightforward. You have certain categories of equipment. The question I was asked specifically was the goose calls, so you would go into here, lures, collars, and then you would scroll down. There's like the magpie goose collars, bunch of other collars, deer trunk collar. I do not like that because you can have the bleak collar, reindeer pintail, but there's the Canada Goose long range and the short range and the flagler. You cannot operate the flagler and the collars at the same time, but if you have a friend, the Canada Goose flagler adds an extra 1 to whatever you have in your spread, even if it's a full spread instead of 24. Decoys, if you had the flagler and they were using it, it would increase it to 25, even though the max is only 24. The weapons, same thing. You go into here, you have different categories. So like if you wanted to get the reverse draw, you'd go into bows and crossbows. We scroll down, here's the winter camo, here's the forest camo, 8,823 GMs. Not that expensive. Click on this, and also whenever you click on it, it will give you ammo. What that ammo is permitted for, as you can see here, it's permitted for everything except werewolf, because you need the silver tip for that. And then it will give you the tracer, regular crossbow arrows, and then it will also give you the scopes or any attachments that go to that weapon. So you go to here, there's crossbow scope, 4,200 GM. So that entire setup would be about 1,200. And then if you wanted the rangefinder, which you most likely will because it helps out a lot, you would go to, give me a second, equipment. It took me a second, it's been a long time since I've looked at this. So there's the rangefinder, 4,250. So that entire setup, you'd have the 8 plus another, like, what was that, 4,600, 4,500 plus another 4,200. So you'd be looking around 15, 16. So basically if you did the Roosevelt packet, you could get everything you needed for the crossbow. And if you did the snowshoe hare and Doll Sheep packet, you could get everything for the crossbow. Because let's say you didn't have the 44 mag for the Roosevelt, you go straight to Doll Sheep, snowshoe hare, complete those. That'll give you 20,000 plus a little extra for the harvest of the animals. So you might have 22,000 at the end maybe. So you'd have 22,000 minus the 16. That'd leave you an extra 6,000 for calls. That could get you about 3 calls. So you could get, let's say Moose, Roosevelt, and some other collar that you really want to get. Now, for the hunting, here's different maps. This is single player. There's 2 different modes, single player and multiplayer. The multiplayer game, this is how you create a game. You can have a password. You can put, whether you want just your friends or anyone. If you have a password, I leave it on anyone. Players, you can have 2 to 8 players. Start time, usually I like to start about 7 or 8 in the morning. Seems to be when animals are a little bit more active. And then here you can either click over here where you want to go, or you can click directly on the map. And then for finding a multiplayer game, it will give you a list of all games going right now. There's 388 games. You can search by reserve, like here, if 5 people playing Bush Rangers Run, or you can search by country. This helps a lot when, let's say, you're in the US. You can easily find your friend's game. But we're going to create a single player game, and I will show you guys how some techniques for stalking animals, specifically Roosevelt. So I spawned at this lodge. This is basically, you can find Roosevelts anywhere in this area here, and then you can find whitetails. Basically, this river is basically like a divider. You can find whitetails anywhere in this area, and blacktails roam this area as well as black bears. And then moose, you can find moose in about this area here. Now I'm going to fast travel to this lodge because I realized if you guys are starting out and you haven't bought anything yet, you're not going to have like a Roosevelt collar. So we're going to start out hunting some whitetail. As you can see, you can also fast travel. Now with fast travel, you have to wait 30 in-game or real-life minutes. You have to wait 30 real-life minutes before you can fast travel again. So like I just fast traveled. If I click fast travel, you need to wait 30 minutes before you can fast travel again. So sometimes it's a hazard. Just be careful of, how easily you can fast travel to different places. And you'd have to have camping supplies in order to fast travel to a tent. At this point, you're not going to have a tent yet, so you don't need to worry about that. Inventory. So we have 3 categories. You have weapons, equipment, clothing, and you probably don't have a vehicle yet either. So we'll start with weapons. So you guys would have the 243 bolt action rifle. I'll get rid of some stuff here. This is from Halloween. We have 243 ammo, and I'll even put the default scope in there that you guys would have. And then I will also put the single shot. Oh, that's not the single shot. That is the single shot shotgun. We will bring along birdshot as well as buckshot. Well, actually, we don't need birdshot because there's no birds on this map. We'll just bring along buckshot. And for equipment, you will have the deer collar. Now, here, this is a spotting scope with extra zoom. You don't have that. You will have binoculars. And starting out, this right here is about what you have. Now, clothing, I'm going to take off all my clothing, and I'm going to put on just the basic stuff like you guys would have. just basic clothes. Maybe you wouldn't have a backpack, you wouldn't have the mask, you wouldn't have sunglasses. Alright. So this would be your setup starting out, basically. It's just this. You've got the 243. And you got the single shot shotgun. Now, for deer, you can use buckshot and stuff. But for like moose and Roosevelt, bigger animals and stuff like that, you would in fact need slugs. But right now, I'm just going to show you guys the basic deer hunting skills. It kind of work for all animals once you get the hang of it. So as you can see, straight out of the lodge, there looks to be a very small buck out there. I think it's a buck. Yeah, very small buck. Now, if you're looking at him and you left click, you are marking him based on what's in the middle. And if you hit M, you can view that on a map and see, hover your mouse over, and you can see he's about 230 meters away. Now, what I like to do is, if you see the red dot, which is where he's at, you can run a little ways. Oh, there is a whitetail. That right there. You can run for generally 50, 60 meters once you see him. But once he gets about right in there on your map, start walking. You can walk for a little ways. And once you get within about 180 meters, you can deer call. You should hear it start coming this way. And once you get about, I don't know, what's this, 150 meters? 140 meters. About this range, you're going to want to start to crouch. Continue to search around, because you never know. Like him, he has not called yet, so if we didn't spot him, we wouldn't know he's there. Just always look around. Now, if we can spot him again, there's these weeds and stuff, so it may be difficult at times to respot animals, especially on red feather, because of all the reeds. So right now, I do not see him. So I want to climb up here on this rock, go prone. And then you kind of just sit here for a while once you get so close. And we should be within about 100 meters of him right now, 108. From there, give out another bleed call. And then you're just going to sit here, essentially, until you figure out where he went. And you shouldn't hear them walking. You can probably start to hear them walking if they're coming in once they're about 40 meters. Which gives you plenty enough time. They won't spook if you're prone until they're, I don't know, maybe 20, 25 meters. Depending on the camo you have. If you have ghillie suit camo, they probably won't see it till they're about 15 meters. Oh, there's that doe. So, I do not see him. So like right now, that is a pretty bad shot right there because you can't really see the vitals very well. We'll also get spotting, as long as she doesn't get stuck on the rock. Oh. Oh, see, like right there, I heard him. Hold space. There you go. Always just aim out center of his chest. Now, whenever you shoot, It does spook the animals about if they're in with about a 250 meter radius, it will spook them. Now, we'll claim him now. Now for, okay, so that was perfect. That was a hard shot. So you can do trophy shot mode, and if you press the space button, you can grab him and rotate him like that. And if you are in this mode here, edit mode, right click, you can rotate your guy. Left click, you can move your guy. And if you press 1 or 2, it's like 1, there's my 243, 2, there's my shotgun, 5. If you want to take a trophy shot with a bleak call, go ahead, but we'll just get the 243. Rotate him like that. So you can just do like that. Beautiful. And then also here, there are filters you can apply. I always do either no filter, or my favorite is the chroma. It just kind of makes everything pop a little better. So there we go. So there is the first animal. Not that hard. Now tracking. Tracking is a whole nother story. So what we're going to do, tracking is probably what you're going to be doing the most in this game. It is a very acquired skill. You won't get a hang of it immediately. But so we knew that doe was somewhere over here. Okay, so there was her track there. Now you can see this roaming. Now she got hung up in there, she turned around and ran, so I'm guessing this is her fleeing track, going the other way. Yep. So there's fleeing. Now if you can see the arrows right there, and you can also see that the tracks line up with those arrows. So you just follow between those two arrows for the first little bit you can run, but again after like 50 meters probably want to stop running, because the animals will usually run about 200 to 250 meters. So if you run for 150 meters, that means you'd be approximately 100 meters from the animal. And if you're 100 meters from the animal and you're running, most likely you're going to spook it again. So also, it is not always 100% accurate that the tracks are between these lines. Sometimes they can veer out. If they hit a tree, run into a tree, they might veer off. But you just also want to kind of just look to side as you track your animal. So now, another thing, this is something that took me a while to find out. So you see how the dome is kind of large, whereas earlier, actually I don't know if you guys have seen one yet. So you have large domes that are filled, and then you have domes that aren't filled. It's just like this little, it's like a rainbow, but these are like a filled in rainbow. When it's a filled in rainbow, that is the track that you're currently tracking. If it's not, that means it's a different animal. So as long as you keep tracking the filled domes, that's going to be the animal that you are currently tracking. And also, when you select the track, oh, right there. There she is. Yep, so that's her. And you, from a map, you can see we shot about right here. Down at the bottom right, down there, that box, you can see distance, 188 meters. She's about right here, 100. So she ran about 250, 280 meters approximately. So, if you click here at the top of the hunter map, you can see the 3 dots. This is a good indicator for keeping track of animals is if you select, let's say you side click a track or something. If you re-click it and it's 3 boxes like that, that means that you've continuously been tracking that animal. So it just, you gotta pay attention. It just helps with finding the animals, because you're gonna constantly be switching between tracks to try to find male tracks and other animals. So we're gonna get close here. It does take about maybe 3 or 4 minutes in real life for them to calm down. If I were to call right now, she would not immediately respond or turn around. It would take her about 4 or 5 minutes, maybe 3 or 4 minutes, before she calmed down and came back. So there, we just got to her first roaming track. So from here, we shot right here, 270 meters. She was maybe right here, so she was maybe 230, 240 meters. So you can see the ring on the hunter mate, which means that as long as you didn't spook it again, they are within that ring, which you can see she just called there. Definitely true that she is in that direction and inside the ring. Now, I called earlier, so my guess is she's going to be coming back slightly to our right. So this time I will use the buckshot, which the buckshot, you should be able to shoot out to maybe 40, 50 meters. And it should kill them, either drop them or kill them relatively fast. Okay. Another thing with the calling, you need to call about every 2 to 3 minutes, otherwise they get what I would consider unconcerned. If you don't call, if you wait like 5 minutes between calls, they'll start to wander away and then come forward and then wander away and come forward. It's not as good as just call frequently. I don't think, it's basically impossible to overcall. So here she is. That's probably about 30 meters. I'm going to crouch up. Down she goes. Alright. So yeah. You can see we hit body, shoulder blade, right lung, left lung, liver. Definitely enough to drop her at 20 meters or 19 meters. Okay, so that's about all there is to it, starting as a beginner. It's not very hard or difficult. Biggest thing is just patience. Definitely err on the side of caution rather than running right up on animals, because once they spook, it takes a lot longer for them to get unspooked and remain calm and then come back in. It just makes the whole thing a hassle, and it's also why I suggest one of the first weapons to get is the recurve bow, is because you can call the animals in and then it's nice and silent. You don't spook all the other animals around, and it just makes killing them a whole lot easier. So now we're back in the lobby, and we took a trophy shot of that one buck. If you go up here, you go up to profile, and then here there's different things. You can look at animal skills, like you can see on level 7 tracking, on Alpine Ibex level 5 spotting, everything like that. But if you go to gallery, here you can view your trophy shots. So if you click on this, there's that buck, and you can use this here. This is like a universal URL code, and this is the Hunter Classic Forums URL code. You can use this for the Hunter Classic Forums, and then you can use this for anything like Discord or anything like that. So yeah, that's all there is to it. If you have any questions, put them in the comments down below, and I will see you guys in the next one.